Hey everyone, welcome back to Fernfield Farms Homestead. Hope you're all having a great summer. I was sitting the other day and I was thinking kind of through just my experiences as a crossbow hunter, and I thought that in this video, since it's raining outside, finally, we do need that rain here. But since it's raining, why don't we talk about some of my mistakes that I had as a new crossbow hunter, and hopefully you can avoid those mistakes if you're a new crossbow hunter and just kind of trying to figure out all the ropes, right? How you're gonna hunt, what you're gonna hunt in, things of that nature. So let's just dive right into it and kind of talk about some of these mistakes that I made when I first started off. Now, obviously, when you're first starting off and you are looking at crossbows, there is an absolute ton of options now, right? And it can be a bit overwhelming, right? You see, and I don't even care if you're not that into the crossbow world. If you started kind of looking at it, if you look at your Cabela's or your Dunhams or your Dick's Sporting Goods, they're really gonna shove. You're gonna see a lot of like 10-point and a lot of Raven, right? They're gonna get the 3-4 pages in the catalog versus everyone else. Don't fall prey to the lie that you need an expensive, dropping stuff over here, but don't fall prey to that thought that you need an expensive crossbow. You don't. That is not a mistake I made, but I think it's a mistake a lot of people do make, that you need to get the super expensive crossbow right away. That's not true. I started with just a Barnett Game Crusher, and at the time it was like $250 or something like that. Right here. It's wide, it's kind of heavy, scope is nothing special. But if you get a deer 20 to 30 yards, not a problem, guys, not a problem. It's easy to cock. It's got your foot stirrup to protect your broadhead. This gets the job done. And this is like, oh, it might be 8 years old now. Somewhere in there, 7 to 8 years old, still killing deer, turkeys, still gets the job done. You don't need to fall prey to the mistake that you need an expensive crossbow. It's just not true. Now, that being said, if you have the money and you want an expensive crossbow, by all means do it, right? You see here, I have the Barnett BCX. It's more expensive. This is the Hyper-Raptor BCX from Barnett. Obviously, you're getting up $700-800 for the lower end of this, and it goes all the way up if you get their new scopes, right? You're up into the $1,000 range. But it's way nicer. It's got features that other ones don't. But again, you don't need to start with this. Is it nice? Yes. Do you need it to kill a deer? No, you don't. Absolutely not. Now, that may not have been a personal mistake, but when I was looking, it was a mistake that I almost made. So I thought I'd throw that in there. Now, my biggest mistake that I made as a new crossbow hunter was not having my bow in a good position in my blind or in my tree stand, right? And I think this happens to a fair amount of people, even people who are seasoned hunters, right? So my first year, I was sitting in a piece of junk tree blind, tree stand in a tree, it was only about that big, but it's what I had to hunt out of. So I did it. I was only about 12 feet up, nothing crazy. And it was during the rut. I had a 5-point go flying by me. So I kind of stood up and I had put some 2x4s through the branches so I could set my crossbow on it for a nice steady shot. So I kind of set it in a bad position, right? As I got up and looked around, wasn't thinking, I had it sitting in a bad position. And I stood looking the other way for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. But I didn't have my crossbow in a good position. And that can be so detrimental. because when I finally decided, hey, the activity's done over there, I turn and I just have my crossbow, sitting sideways, not really in a good position, off to the side. As I turned, monster buck. I mean, the biggest I've ever seen on my land here. Nothing I could do. My crossbow wasn't in a good spot. I couldn't grab it and turn. I did manage to grab it, but of course he saw me, and that was it. He walked away. Make sure that you have it in a good position, especially if you're just sitting in your blind. It's really tempting to set it off to the side. I prefer not to do that. I actually will have it sitting on my shooting rail with it right up against, like resting on my leg. And I will sit for hours like that because I can just grab it and pull it up. It's vital to have it in a good spot. As tempting as it is to maybe hang it up. And I get that some of you have to do that, right? Hang it up. Especially during peak times, try to have either make sure that hanger is in a really good spot, or try to make sure that you have it in a spot where you can just ready to shoot, right? Because sometimes that split second of reaching, grabbing, moving, boom, they spot you, it's over. Where I hunt, you have to have it ready. And I think that is a big mistake as an early crossbow hunter that I made, probably my biggest mistake, because I missed the opportunity at the biggest deer of my life, right? Haven't seen anything like that around here for a long time, till last year when my neighbor shot one with a gun across the field. Good for him, but that was the biggest deer I've seen in 7 years. So just try to remember that. A little long on that one, but I think it's really important, okay? Make sure you have your bow in a good spot to be ready to shoot. And the longer you sit, the harder it is to do that. As a new crossbow hunter, make sure you have your bow in a good spot ready to shoot. Be ready, because it happens in a split second and you need to be ready. Okay? All right, moving on now. I would say the second biggest mistake that I made as a crossbow hunter beginning, and that could help you, is really simple, and it seems like everyone should know this, but know your ranges, okay? I'm not saying you have to buy an expensive rangefinder, right? But what I did is I measured and I started putting, you can get those really cheap plow markers for driveways, right? A couple bucks. Now, they used to be $1 when I got them, but put those in 20, 30, 40 and kind of go out, and that will help you learn your landmarks, right? So then after a couple seasons, you can pull those up and you're good. Last year, if you watch any of my videos, I went hunting with my handicapped brother on the neighbors. I did not figure out my range and he shot under a deer. That is my fault. I told him the wrong range, right? Because I don't have an expensive or even a cheap rangefinder yet. I just don't. As a budget hunter, you pick and choose what you spend your money on. My money's going for tags and for deer processing because I don't have the ability to process my deer myself yet. Hopefully someday, but I don't. So I have to factor that in. I'm not gonna buy a rangefinder. So I have to go out there, and I will this year before the hunt, and I will put those markers in on the neighbors. On my own land, I know my ranges now, right? I know. And I'll still put the markers sometimes, but I know it. Know your ranges. Get out there, figure it out ahead of time, know what you're shooting. Because, again, my first season, that same tree stand, I had a 5-point buck walk out again, and I thought, hey, that's about 30 yards. That was way off. When I shot, I actually hit it in the hoof. Way off. And I didn't know my ranges. So make sure you know the area you're hunting. If you don't, make sure you try to go out ahead of time, figure out how far your ranges are. I would say that was my second biggest mistake as a new crossbow hunter. Now, the third biggest mistake I think I made as a crossbow hunter beginning is simply not having lighted nocks. Now, that might not seem like a big deal to everyone, But with these crossbows, they shoot so fast, go right through a deer, right into the ground. You might not find your arrow. I lost a few of them and found them the last couple years when I was tilling out there to put in a food plot. Hey, there's my arrow from a couple years ago, right? So it is important to be able to find your arrow because you learn a lot from your arrow, where your shot placement was based on your blood color, right? You can smell it. Ooh, hit the guts, right? So having a lighted nock, I'm not going to say it's super important, but as a beginning crossbow hunter, you're going to be shaken, you're going to have nerves. Having that lighted nock to be able to find your arrow and identify your shot placement, I think that's pretty important. So if you have a bow that doesn't have a lighted nock, you're going to go through the stress, or an arrow, I should say, that doesn't have a lighted nock. When you take that shot and you can't find your arrow, but you think it was a good shot, but you don't know, you're going to have even more stress trying to find that arrow, right? So I would say make sure you have a lighted nock. Super important. So this next one probably will anger a few people. And you know what? That's all right. Because some people are going to hate what I'm about to say. I think a lot of people will agree with it, but some people are going to hate it. Also, just a bonus tip, make sure you do your waxing and your lubrication. That is, of course, very important. And I do it probably too much, because why not? But anyways, the next important thing I would say to remember and not make as a mistake as a new crossbow hunter, broadhead choice. Don't cheap yourself on broadheads. I made this mistake as well. And I just went to Meyer, the local Meyer here. I got the cheap fixed blade broadheads, right? And thought that would be good. I mean, I got a crossbow. It's not. Sometimes the cutting diameter isn't great. I remember, 100% remember, they were Allen broadheads. They looked mean, but they were just a fixed blade broadhead. And I shot a couple deer. My brother came out to help me look. My dad came out to help me look. And we never found them. Now, part of that, again, new crossbow hunter. Maybe my shot placement wasn't great. Maybe I didn't know the distances. But I will say this, ever since I switched to a Rage mechanical, Rage, oh no, we all hate Rage, right? A lot of people hate Rage. Ever since I have switched to Rage mechanicals, I have not lost a deer. Not one. I have found every single deer that I have shot. Now, there's been some people I've been hunting with who've taken a bad shot and just nicked the deer, and we didn't find that one. But I've also had my brother Mike in his video. Not a great shot, right? Kind of back by the back leg, went through in the front. If we didn't have a Rage, I don't think we would have found that deer. They punch a huge hole. Yes, you might have to track it for a while, but you will most of the time find that deer. So don't make the mistake and just be like, hey, I'm gonna get the cheap fixed broadheads. It's not necessarily where it's at, guys. It's not necessarily where it's at. All right, so I have no idea what number tip I am on here, but another tip, lie that you don't need to fall into as a new crossbow hunter. Let's make some more people mad. Camo. You need the best. It's got to be amazing, right? Well, do I have camo? Yes. I think every hunter has camo, right? We like camo. We're hunters. All my camo, I didn't buy. Gifts from my mom. I think this is from Meyer too. Camo patterns. I know nothing about any of that, okay? Don't fall prey to the lie that you need to get the $2,000 camo. You don't. Do you need to get nice warm clothes if you're hunting in cold weather? Yes. Is camo bad? No. Can you kill deer without camo? You sure can, especially if you're in a blind. Honestly, if you're in like a pop-up blind or a elevated blind, whatever you're using, if you are enclosed, it is dark in there. You're better off just wearing a black coat, black sweatshirt. You're going to be hidden more than if you wear camo, because this is actually going to reflect some of that light that they're looking in there. You're almost better off doing blackout. Now, if you're up in a tree or something, yeah, camo doesn't hurt. It doesn't. But if you're still enough and calm enough, I've killed quite a few deer without even wearing camo. I've just worn brown sweatshirts in a lot of my hunting. Just a lie that, you need the expensive camo. No, you don't. Okay. Another lie. You need to upgrade your arrows, right? The bolts that come with your crossbow are junk. Now hear me out. Sometimes that's true, okay? Sometimes that's true, but it is not always the case. What I have found, and yes, I'm a Barnett guy, right? I have 4 Barnetts in here, right? But I also have center point, okay? So it's not like, and I had a killer instinct. I sold my killer instinct. Why? I wasn't gonna use it, okay? That killer instinct is the one bow that I have had a bad stock arrow on. But they send you 3, I had 1 bad one. You still have 2, still can go out there, kill a deer, right? But I have found Barnett, like I was saying, kind of went off on a tangent, but Barnett, their headhunter arrows that they send you, those are great arrows. They are. Probably my favorite. One like this, beat up, gone through so many shots, and is just accurate. You don't need to go buy more expensive arrows. You don't need to go get a custom arrow. You don't need to make a custom arrow. You watch a lot of these videos online, and there's nothing wrong with doing those things. But if you're trying to be budget friendly, you just want to get a crossbow, get out there and hunt. You're beginning. Center point, their bolts work great, very accurate. Barnett, their bolts that come with it work great, very accurate. You don't need to go buy more bolts. Use the ones that come with it, get used to it. You're gonna kill a deer, okay? Now, we'll put a little asterisk there. Killer instinct, I would say shoot all of them. If you have one that's kind of going off, I've heard that this is kind of a common problem with their cheaper end. I don't know about their more expensive end, but if you have one that's kind of going off, obviously don't use that one. Use the other ones. But don't fall prey to the fact that you need to go buy a more expensive arrow. You don't. Use what came with it, right? Now this video might be getting a tad bit long, but I keep thinking of more things, right? That you don't need to fall prey to. Now, as you grow in your crossbow development, maybe you want to spend some more money, you want to do some cool things, feel free to do this stuff, right? But a lot of the videos that you're watching are guys like me who have been hunting for quite a while and are upgrading. They're upgrading, right? They want to try the new cool technology. If you're starting off and you're trying to be cheap, this will help you keep it cheap. So, next one. You don't need a fancy scope. So, on the BCX, which is more expensive, this is their low-end scope. This is a speed ring scope, okay? So, you set it based on your bow's speed, and it's super nice. I don't think you can even see in there. Probably not. It's going to be really hard to... There you go. So you can kind of see in there. So you set it based on your bow's speed, and it adjusts how far apart that those crosshairs are, right? Which is super nice. But you don't need it. It also lights up in low light situations. You can turn on the light, right? So that you can see those crosshairs better. That is nice. That is nice. I will say that's nice for younger hunters, but you don't need to do that, right? So this is one of Barnett's plain scopes. Now, I will say this, I did upgrade the scope on this original one, but it's just another stock scope. This came off of my broken Hyperraptor. They let me keep it, and it's a 4x36. It's just a little bit better zoom, and I do like that it has circle dots instead of crosshairs. So I did switch that, but you don't need that, okay? You don't even need that. I don't know if this will show you. It's very similar to the one you just saw. There you go. But those crosshairs, they don't move, or the circles, right? Those stay fixed. It's just what you get. Now, my center point here, this is just their stock scope that came with it. And I actually really, really like it. Oh, it's so hard to do this. Kind of get the idea. It's really hard, guys. I'm sorry. So I'm probably not going to get that one. But it's just basic, okay? Just basic. This one does light up, but it's the stock one that came with it. Just basic, not a speed ring, right? Don't fall prey that you need a speed ring scope. As a new crossbow hunter, I think you will actually be more frustrated by a speed ring scope than just having a standard fixed reticle scope, okay? Don't fall prey to that. Just don't. I think that's all I've got for this video. I can't really think of anything else. I think the most important things that you need to remember as a new crossbow hunter is make sure if you're in cold climates, stay warm. Make sure you wax your strings, right? And the most important thing is to try to stay calm when that deer comes in. It's hard for us as seasoned hunters, but try to stay calm. Wait for that good shot. Honestly, I would say the biggest mistake all of us have made as new crossbow hunters is just taking a bad shot. We've all done it. We all will do it, most likely. I see that deer, like that 5-point that I shot the foot on, way out there. Ooh, it's big. And take that shot. It's angled away. It's too far away. That stuff's gonna happen, guys. That's part of it. Try to keep yourself under control. And if you are a new crossbow hunter, I know these new ravens can shoot 150 yards or whatever. If you are a new crossbow hunter, hear me, try to keep it, I'm going to say 25 yards and under. Let that deer get close. Make sure you have a nice broadside shot. Get yourself that deer under your belt, right? Get your first deer. Doesn't have to be a giant. Get that first one, 25 yards and under. Drop it. You're going to be hooked, okay? Thanks for coming along, guys. Wish it wasn't raining so I could get some of these out. But, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully, we get the new demon soon. And maybe the T-Rex. We're going to try. We'll see. Have been in talks with them. Those should be releasing soon. And I know that you're probably going to want to watch a video before you go and buy one yourself. That's what I'm here for. Now, we do have a couple new things coming. We are supposed to have an American whitetail Dead Reckoning target coming. Stumbled on that in a Cabela's catalog, sent them a message, and they are sending that. So that is supposed to be able to stop 600 feet per second. It's supposed to be machine packed instead of hand packed. It says right on their thing about that. And we will be comparing it to my favorite target, the Big Shot 650 that I've got. So see what the difference is, especially with those stinking barnet bolts with the little collar. Does it come out a little better? We will see. So that should be coming, guys. Possibly in the works, trying to work on getting a blind to review. With hunting with Mike, what is convenient for someone with special needs, right? Mike is raring to go hunting again, and he has a turkey tag for this fall and a deer tag, and he did okay last year, but it's hard for him to get in my blind up on the ladder, and it's also hard for him in the ground blind. There's not a lot of room. So is there a blind that is good for someone like him? We're hoping to try that out. We'll see, guys. Hopefully more videos coming up. If you can, please subscribe. It does help the channel, helps us grow, helps us get more products that we can show you. Thanks for coming along. We'll catch you on the next one.